round one for us over the last 2 years with the new car has been relatively, at times strong. Definitely qualifying as a whole has not been my strong suit in my life. So a lot of work has went into it, and not a lot of payoff, not a lot of reward. So even the times that we do tie together round one, I've never been able to put round two together in a way that I'm proud of, that I feel like I did right. So I usually overdrive, and when I should just go the same speed or a little slower even and be fine, I usually slow down even more because I try to go faster. So today was all about minimizing the loss, and round one was I felt pretty good. I overslowed turn one, basically just slowed down too fast in turn one, and then wanted to make that better. I have no idea if I actually did. I haven't looked at any of the information and data. We're pretty pumped up that we got this pole, and I know that I didn't mess it up too bad. Obviously, I ran basically the same lap time, which was really challenging with it getting hotter and second lap on tires.
All right, we'll go ahead and go to questions. We'll open up with Holly. We'll go to Jeff, Bob, and Lee. Go ahead, Holly.
Thanks. Hi, Ross. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. You had a really good lap. I mean, a mile an hour faster than everybody else. But could you talk about what this means for Trackhouse, this being the first pole for them and it being your first pole professionally, which surprised me a little bit. I had to go back and look that up. But just talk about that, too.
Yeah, look, we're in Nashville. This is where Trackhouse was formed. It was started here with Justin living here, and we are Nashville's team. And so with the Tootsies group, with Steve and everybody, it's incredible to have it happen here is amazing. For me personally, it's amazing that it hasn't happened before with as strong as Daniel is at qualifying. And I've always, since I've become teammates with him, at road courses, my margin is 0.2. If I'm within 0.2 of Daniel, I'm pretty happy. At intermediates and stuff, then we're kind of 100th for 100th with each other, and we saw that in round one. So for me, it's been a labor of a lot of work and schooling personally to try to be better. And we did a mock run yesterday just to keep working at it. It's not necessarily the best thing to do for race-wise, but my team has put a lot of work into me. My engineers have tried to explain, and they've done a really good job of explaining where I went wrong in the past, even in times I wasn't driving the one car, it was with other teams, and they've looked at that and tried to understand my philosophy when we go to qualifying, which has generally been more gas, less brake, just go faster. And that doesn't always work. Most of the time it doesn't work. So they've been on me to literally, as simple as it sounds, less gas, more brake, earlier brake, later on throttle, and let the car work. And I've struggled with this qualifying, single lap. Like if we have 2 laps, I would say my numbers were probably a whole lot better. Group qualifying, when we had like minutes to go, I could take a couple laps and I'd be really good. 1 lap, come to the green, and checkered is been so frustrating for me for my entire career, and definitely in NASCAR. So it's so rewarding right now. It's like this is a day that I will never forget.
All right, we'll go to Jeff. Right here, go ahead.
Yeah, Jeff Hood Racing today. Ross, first pole means you're going to get the coveted P1 pit box. Expectations, how big of an advantage will that be at a place like Nashville?
I don't know. I've never been there. I've never gotten it in Cup, especially, and I have no idea. I'm gonna have to go, and Trackhouse has never had it either. So we do our pit road studies every week, and we know the numbers and the math, and we're gonna have to go, and whatever pit box is best is, I'm assuming it's going to be the first one, but that's up for Phil Surgeon and our group at Trackhouse and GM to decide. But I have no idea what it's going to be like, but it feels pretty good right now.
All right, we'll go to Bob.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. What makes you feel better about tomorrow, being on the pole or being second in 10-lap average in the speed yesterday?
Yeah, long run for sure. It's nice that we're not going to pass a bunch. Hopefully everything stays how it is, and we get out to a lead there. But race trim wise, cars is super strong. really good balance, and none of them, it doesn't feel great. Like going through the corners here, they always feel slow to me because there's not a lot of banking. It's concrete, but it shows really good. So I feel I would rather have good average speed than single lap, but we put a lot of work into single lap for sure.
All right, Lee.
Congratulations. You were really emotional when you got out of the car and, you know, waiting for to be decided, the poll. Tears of joy, tears of relief. I mean, in the 30 years I've been doing this, you have been overanalyzed from every direction, and it's got to weigh on you at some point. So, I mean, is this just, I won't say vindication, but, you know, does it kind of help rebuild? Not that you lost confidence, but, you know, is it just kind of a step forward?
Well, the tears out there were of joy and like satisfaction, of just happiness that it's paid off, right? It's just all this comes down to speed and hundredths and thousandths of a second, and that we were able to do it. Like so much work for years, and it didn't pay off, and it paid off. So that's what those were. Everything else, I've learned at 30 years old to embrace this room, right? And embrace everybody that throws opinions and thoughts my way, and I take them and I bounce them off my team personally and professionally with my family and my group, both in Trackhouse and out. And we, you know, they help me walk through that. But mentally, I just form my own opinion. Like I take everybody's little bits and I make my own thought. So, yeah, I would, you know, look, we're all human though. Like when people tell you you're slow, then it kind of easy to think you're slow. So, I've got a good support group though, and they like to remind me why we're here and that we're in the Cup Series, and this is where we wanted to get to. We did not have a clear path here, but we got here, and now we're going to stay here. So, yeah, I do, you know, personally, I'm happy for my team and me. This was, I mean, I'm selfish. This was about the work that we've put in and how many times I've had cars capable of qualifying on the pole in the Cup Series, and then down through every rank from the very first Pro Truck division, fast truck I did at 12 years old. There were times that, I mean, so many that should have been pole laps, and I messed them up. And so this today was that on this stage, we are able to do it. All that said, I could have very easily spun out, so glad I made it.
All right, we'll go to Dalton in the back.
Hey Ross, Dalton Hopkins with FrontStretch.com. It's been a month since Darlington, and since then, you know, you've kind of just, you haven't been involved in some kind of controversy or anything like that. But does that make this poll a little bit more special, knowing that it almost feels like that you're back in the positive light, you're back in the positive headlines, and how much momentum does something like a first poll carry for you going into Sunday?
Personally, it's a day that I will truly never forget. I will, no matter how the weekend goes, the rest of the year, I will always have a memory of today, and I have that for, you know, we all do. We all have key, you know, core memories of it in our lives and in our minds. So, I don't really know how this changed, you know, what this puts for publicly and spotlight and all that. I'm me, and Trackhouse gets the good and the bad, and our sport as a whole gets me for who I am. But don't ever expect me to just like be very repeatable and robotic. I feel like, and that I should just be one way or the other. Like I'm human. I'm going to do things different each time and try to be better. Right? I'm not going to do the same thing over and over because if I want to do that, I'd be really good at failing, and I don't like failure, and I don't like crashing. I want to win. So I will continue to evolve to do that, and you know, I've got a really good group around me that, you know, gets me through the bad days, and we celebrate the good days, and we work through the bad ones, and we keep working in the good ones as well.
All right, we're going to come up front to Chris Knight, and we'll end with Dustin in the back.
Chris Knight, GetChance.com. Ross, average finish here, 3.5 in the Cup Series, so just wondering what it is about you and Nashville Superspeedway that you seem to adapt so well.
I got a really good crew chief and some engineers that give me rocket ships. This was our really, I would say, arrival to the Fast Club in the 42 car in 2021. The high power, low downforce package that year was definitely our stronger suit. But we unloaded here second quick, raced up in the top 10 all day, and came home second. Last year, similar, a lot of speed. Thought we had a pole qualifying, car, and I went 2.5 miles an hour too fast through turns 1 and 2, and I got tight and I slid up and I lost 0.2. Like I tried to go too fast. So today was all about keeping that speed down in the critical parts, and then obviously going faster in the whole lap, but giving up some to gain it back later. So we've had speed all 3 years. I prepare just like any other track. I don't put any tracks ahead of the others. But it starts with Phil Surgeon and our support group at Trackhouse at GM that they've got a good handle on this place, and it shows. I mean, you saw both Daniel and I were 2 of the fastest cars around 1. So.
All right, Dustin, go ahead.
Dustin Albino, J-Ski Ross right here. Hey, so Chad's about to go out and make his 3rd Xfinity start. Watching him at this level, like, what are the emotions like for yourself?
Well, until I qualified on the pole, they were more nervous for him. Yeah, look, it's my little brother. We're 6 years apart, and I'm gonna do anything in life I can to help him, and he does the same for me. We work together, professionally, business-wise back home, and do a lot together, and are going to continue. Our parents and our family is given us a great platform and base to go out into our lives professionally and do a lot of things, and we're going to try to take advantage of that, right? We want to do things and have fun together, and we vacation together. We spend our lives together. Even though he lives in Florida and runs the farm, he's still the farmer at JDI Farms, our family farm. My dad has given him a lot of the reins to make decisions. So, these opportunities here with Mario Goslin, DGM, and the Tennessee Office of Highway Safety is. It's a simple message of buckling up and using your melon. With his being use your melon today, just driving sober, trying to remind Nashville and the greater Tennessee population and residents to simply don't drive distracted or impaired. And it's a message you've seen on my cars over the years. And if I can pay that to him, forward to him, and give him that opportunity, my family gave me opportunities, and then now we can do that for him. I will not apologize for that at all. And he's a pretty darn good little race car driver. To go out there and qualify 22nd today is incredible. I've really had to, try to slow him down. His first couple of starts were on the gas, not too different. He's watched me. So he has watched me from when he was 6 years old and I was 12, and I started racing, and he's followed the same path. It just didn't work out at 18 years old to get him in. Now at 24, there's opportunities. And now he's learning on the stage. He hasn't been racing a whole lot. He's been working. So I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the progression and the just the small steps. Now he gets to go and sweat a whole lot and slide around and work with Mario. It's so cool that we're getting to work with Mario. I get to drive for him, and so does Chad. He's just lives in Florida. Mario lives in Florida, runs a team out of Lake Wales. It's not too far north of us, and we have more in common than we probably ever thought. So it's just cool moments right now, and I'm proud of him, and he's my brother, so I'll do anything for him.
Bob Hockris, Fox Sports. For a watermelon farmer, what's it going to be like to drive through the city of Chicago in a race car?
It's going to be new. It's new. It's totally different. So. Not like the roads in Alva for sure, but it's a way to move the needle with our sport. And I think over 3/4 of the tickets already sold are new fans, and I'm sure a lot of people are just going to walk up when they hear the engines fire up. I think there's signs all over town, so they'll at least know about it. And then when we go roaring down through there, it's going to be just so many new fans. So I'm bought in. Like it doesn't matter. For me, how my personal race goes or weekend goes, I could very easily auger it into the tire barriers about every corner if I'm not careful. So I've done that on the simulator quite a bit. You miss the brake zone by just a few feet, and there's no runoff. So yeah, I'm not really worried about. I mean, yes, I want points and I want to win, but I'm more looking at it from the big picture of the us as a whole, and if it elevates all of us, then it'll pay off for me in the long run.
Hey Ross, Stephen Boero from the Sports Credential. Third year here at the Superspeedway. Practice yesterday. How did the track feel? How did your car feel? And what are you looking for going into qualifying later this afternoon?
It felt just as unique as I remembered it. This place is unlike any other. And when I go down the straightaways, I feel like I'm at 1.5 miles, and then I get to the corner and I brake like I'm at a short track, like I'm braking for the corner, and overdriving. Like I have to consciously get myself to slow down early enough, and slower on entry really is faster. So, it's I don't feel great making laps, and then we're quick, and we show good in all measurable aspects, and the car's really not doing anything too crazy, but it just doesn't feel good because there's so little banking and such tight corners. It's not pleasant like to drive as a I feel like I'm not hustling it because you're on a flatter track, even though to me the way it's laid out, the garages, media center, like it's 1.5 mile footprint shrunk, and so every lap I have to consciously remind myself of that. I'm ready to hustle it like I'm at Kansas.
All right, let's go to Kelly and then Holly.
Kelly, CrandallRacer.com. Ross, Justin made those very public remarks after Darlington. Is it a coincidence that since then there seems to be the Ross Chastain that was pre-Darlington, and maybe from the outside looking in, you've been a little more conservative since then?
Well, I think it's exactly that. It is the outside, and what we do at Trackhouse and say and talk about and plan for is what's so cool about sports, is that we're enclosed in our own world of 140 men and women, and it's up to us to go about our business however we see fit. So I'm definitely going to learn from Darlington. I don't want to wreck myself. I want to win races, and whatever I can do to wreck less and win more will definitely be top of mind and priority. So I take what people say to heart, though, especially my boss, my owner, like the guy that hires me and guides me. He's a racer himself, so we've talked as just racers and buddies just as much as we've talked as owner and driver. So people can think what they want. I know what our path has been, is currently, and what we're planning, and I'm totally comfortable in the spot we're in.
Can you share then just what it's been like the last couple of weeks? Are you trying to find maybe a different rhythm or different way to approach things on the racetrack? Like, are you conscious now maybe more about that during these races, of what you're trying to do and how you're racing?
I'm trying to find victory lane. I found it. It's right here. I was there last night with Carson Hocevar. I got to get back myself. So, yep, that's all we're trying to find.
Go to Holly and then to Dustin.
Hey Ross, Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. Kind of along those lines, but you are high up in points, and I understand you want to win every race you compete in. I get that, but you are high enough up in points. Is there a little bit of that kind of gives you some comfort anyway? And if not, are there certain tracks that you really feel optimistic about scoring the win in between now and the playoffs starting?
Right. Chicago's a huge question mark, so I don't really know where to rank that one, even though we've been really good on road courses. No, there's none that I really put above the others. Gateway, we just weren't that good in the race, but I thought if we were slotted in 10th, we could run 10th after a restart. It was just, I got kind of beat up on restarts, and it's just part of it. There's none that I really hold any higher than the others. Like with this car, it's the same car every week. Like we literally change like a few settings of the geometry, the body. But I mean, it's so small you can't even see the difference. Where the old car or any other race car, you bring it to a super speedway, you can tell in the fenders and the body lines and the way the car sits. It's built for Daytona, and then when you take it to Martinsville, you can tell it's a totally different built race car. Ours look the same to me. I can't see the differences. So with that, there's just there's no tracks that like it shrunk the window for highs and lows of tracks that seem to be better or worse because we're running truly the same car. I don't have any higher or lower really. I want to grab and scrap and pick up any points anybody drops any time and all the time. The most points will be better. But no, we want to win, and that's the focus. That is the goal. That is the objective, and that's where our sights are set.
Go to Dustin and then over here to Lee.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Ross, can you give me a sense of perspective next week at Chicago? You're going to have 50 minutes of practice, but a lot of people expect that there'll be multiple cautions potentially in the practice session. So you're going to have limited time, maybe you get 2 or 3 runs, if that. And then when you go to qualify, you're going to have to, after what limited time you've had on a track you're not as familiar with, bust out a really strong lap because track position is going to matter. I know you guys do some superhuman things behind the car at times, and maybe we don't always appreciate that. What kind of a challenge when you get in the car for qualifying next week, if those things happen, and how nerve-wracking or how much do you embrace that opportunity for a big moment? Because it seems like that's a moment where a driver can really shine in an uncomfortable situation, or if they go too far over the edge, now you're starting 25th, and you're probably hurting your chances for much in the race.
That's NASCAR racing. That's every week. That's what's so cool about this series and this level, is there's so much pressure involved with everything. I do wish that we did focus more on the cool factor of the driving the car and like how on edge we are. You see, a champion of our sport spin out in practice yesterday. Just you watch the end car, it looks innocent all the way to the point it snaps, and we're all on that edge, and we're fighting that every lap, especially with the bump down in turn 4 here at Nashville. So, there's one big bump here. There's 12 corners, and I don't know how many. We have no idea at Chicago. They've repaved some, but we've all driven on repaved roads. Sometimes it's worse than it used to be. So. I have no idea what to expect, but yeah, we go out and it's going to be who can learn the fastest. We're all logging laps in our simulators, but until you actually get on this surface, we don't even have the most accurate, renderings and for the walls because it's going to be evolving as they put them in. So a big ask of the operations team building the track, because they're figuring it out as they go. A lot of times I wish this room could ride with me physically in the car because it's incredible what's happening in there. And I remember growing up just watching and viewing these drivers as, these larger than life figures, because you see the car. If you can ever see the car wiggle, it's crazy inside for the driver. And if you were in there, you would feel it. So more 2-seaters need to be available to give rides. And when we do that, I'll gladly sign up to drive everybody in this room around these tracks.
Also, 5, 6, 7 years ago, as you're trying to work your way up into NASCAR, obviously the schedule was always kind of set in a way it was. But the idea now that a few years later that you've driven inside a stadium, you've driven on a cup car on a dirt track. You've driven at North Wilkesboro. Now you're going to be driving in a street course. The idea of that concept and how quickly things have changed. What kind of comes to mind in terms of, you're in a completely different era than what you were 5 years ago, what you thought you might be if you reached this level. What is this like in the challenge of these different types of tracks?
Yeah, I'll have to quote one of my guys, David, when we got the 42 car in 2021, we were super excited, and then we happened to be on the phone one day and we looked at the schedule together, and he's like, there's 7 road course races? I didn't know this. Why'd we sign up to drive a Cup car the first time there's 7 when there was always 2? And we were honestly a little scared. And I had to go to school and keep going. I still go to school to learn. It is what it is. I wanted to be a Cup driver. I sacrificed a lot to get here, and whatever it means to be a Cup driver, I want to be that. And this level, this garage, I want to be in there with, the other teams and competing at this level. This is all I've wanted. So, yeah, wherever we go, we'll go across the world. Doesn't really bother me. I signed up for this, and I'm here for it.
All right, we're going to take one final question from Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you. Ross, I saw you after Sonoma. You were elated, top 10 finish. You have 2 top 5s here. What are your expectations for Sunday?
After driving the rocket ship I had yesterday in practice, high. We'll have a shot. We'll be able to go, and wherever we qualify, we'll be able to race throughout tomorrow night's race and put ourselves in position. Expectations are to go compete. We have fast cars. We have good support, trying to tie up all the little loose ends and put ourselves just we just want a shot. That's it. So it's going to come down to restarts throughout stage 3 and adjusting our car throughout the night. I feel like that's been a bit where I've struggled. I feel like when we've been better throughout the weekend or early in the race, I get kind of complacent because I'm not sure what to tell them. I'm pushing the car. I have good balance, and then somebody nails their balance. It's been a little bit slower, and then they've nailed it because they kept firing changes at it. And I'm a little more reserved in my desire. As long as it's close, I'll go get the rest. But at this level, at the end of these races, it's got to be pretty darn perfect. So I feel like we've been beat there. So I've worked on, just mentally, how do I push myself past where I'm comfortable with the car? I feel like I've got everything I need to go win, but there's probably something else I could ask for to make it a little bit better. And the risk is it could be worse, but let's work on it, whether it's air pressure or wedge. And our options are pretty small in the race. So what I'm looking for is those small little crumbs at the end of the race to be able to go fight for it.
And with the Josh Berry news this week, you're another guy, what Tony Stewart said that he's looking for in a driver, somebody with work ethic, and you really didn't get your first shot till at 28 when you got with a big team, and, you've made the most of it since. And does work ethic still matter in the garage? You still have to, pay dues, show that you're willing to commit and be that guy.
So happy for Josh. I hate that we're going to lose him at GM. I'm not going to get to go to the gym in the morning and see him next year. But, gosh, as this was coming along and just being friendly and Josh and I are just friends, it's been so cool to, see his emotion as it's came through and gotten done. There was times where, I could tell he was working out a little extra because that carrot was out there, and it's everything he's ever wanted and worked for, professionally, I think, and then same with me. It's just in my life, this is what we wanted. So I'm glad I'm sad I'm gonna have to race against him, but I'm happy just for the guy and his family. So what the owners look at, I'm not sure. I don't, I'm not a race team owner, so I don't even begin to think that I understand how their brains work because I don't own race cars. I drive them. So everybody had to pay something. Everybody had to write a check. The amount might be 1 or 2 zeros different, but it's the dark side of our sport that not a lot of people like to talk about. But yes, I had to spend money my family had to spend money to get me into the sport. And somebody had to pay for every driver that's racing a car anywhere. I don't care if you're running a rental go-kart race, the $20 for the 10 minutes you run in a rental go-kart, you have to pay for it. Somebody has to pay for it. Whether it's that to the Cup Series, yes, Josh had, I don't know the details. I don't know everybody's details, but I know mine. Yes, we had to spend money. I'm not going to hide from that. I've been able to pay that back now, and I'm proud of that. It shouldn't have worked out, but the thought that people are here on $0 is not. It's not true. It's not. Whether it was truly you or your family or somebody that was like family, they had to be like family if they were going to spend the money it takes to get into any kind of racing. You race locally, late models these days. It's a lot of money, and it's the dark side of our sport that I live in it. I work in it. I'm in the trenches on it for me and other people, trying to figure out how to pay for this stuff. But I'm not a sponsor finder. I don't want people to think that. I don't find money for anybody. But the dark side is everybody pays. It's just a matter of, does it pay off?